looks very small.
Well, wait a minute, you haven't seen mine on me. Just try it on.
Yes, but you go to the gym.
Just give it a go, and I'll cover you. I'll cover you whilst you change. Because you were an Adonis at school, an athlete?
Yeah, I mainly do leg day though, so...
Right. That is perfect, isn't it?
You asked what size it is.
What size is this?
It's a ladies' 10.
Our ladies 10! Now it makes sense.
This is a medium. So when did you jump on a plane, or you always? Were you coming to Japan no matter what?
Yeah, I was coming to Japan no matter what. I'd sorted out tickets to come to the final and the second semi-final. So I watched the game in London with all of my mates.
The New Zealand game?
Yeah, the New Zealand game. And I said to myself, look, even if we lose, it's going to be fine. We're going to be out there in Japan. It's going to be great. And those bronze medal matches are in many ways the real finals of these tournaments. People love tuning into those. The stakes are so high. Yeah. They always play their best teams. And so it was all like, because I genuinely thought we were going to lose in that semi-final, and I was going to be getting on a plane and going to watch England play Wales in a bronze medal match.
Because you've always watched the All Blacks always win.
Yeah.
Was the psychology.
Yeah, exactly. Always assumed. And also just, I guess, you're preconditioned to be very pessimistic when you enter these types of tournaments.
Have you listened to much of Eddie?
Eddie
Jones?
Yeah.
So he was fascinated. So he did this press conference at the start of the week, and he turned around to everyone and said, no one thinks we're going to win. Does anyone here think we're going to win? And before anyone could answer, he says, see, I told you no one could win. No one thinks we're going to win. And then just slowly chips away. By the end of the week, everyone's like, who thinks we're going to win? He's just got this amazing sort of aura and self-belief that is making us all turn up tomorrow thinking there's only one result.
Well, and it's so hard now, this sudden shift from going to being the team that people are kind of expecting to win, and that's a whole different set of expectations. It must be very hard to kind of shift between those two things, where going in as an underdog in many ways must be sometimes a little bit better, because it does strip away expectation.
So you got to Twickenham all the time. So let's just do your quick quiz on South Africa. What are you worried? There are clearly some worries about South Africa, because you're turning up. What are you worried about the Springboks?
I guess
what
just
about
worried about them turning the game into the kind of game that suits them, and that plays into their strengths, and it becoming sort of more disjointed and a little bit more like physical. But then again, even if they do that, I still feel confident that we should be able to overcome them.
Yeah,
which is a horrible place to be in. I far prefer going into these games going, we're going to lose, it's all going to be doom and gloom.
And then everything's an upside.
I hate going in with optimism, it's horrible. Yeah, that's why I support Arsenal.
Well,
I make sure in my whole sporting, array of teams that I'm never entering into anything with confidence.
So we know that it's going to go through it. And then the England team that you've followed over the past 2 or 3 years, which one of the players have you thought, wow, he's awesome, he's so cool?
Well, Manu Tuolangi is an amazing player, and what a kind of journey he's gone on, and being in and out of the team and having his kind of problems in the past, and then seeing him really just kind of peak at exactly the right moment, and it feels like he's gone through so much to get to where he is now, and learnt so much and developed so much as a person and as a player. And it feels like he's done it at just the right time, and so much of it is about that. It's about having that happen for you at the right time in your career.
And do you love the sort of monikers that Eddie's thrown about? We talk about the kamikaze twins now of
they're amazing.
Curry and Underhill.
Yeah.
Just redefining how you're supposed to play, and they're like 21, 22 years old. It's incredible to watch.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're so good. And in kind of the last couple of tournaments that I've watched, you realise how important that position is, and how important having really, really good flankers is at the breakdown, and it's maybe somewhere that we've been a little, short in, and to see them just emerge in this tournament, especially in that Australia game where it felt like it was a real kind of shifting of the guard in terms of them having these world-class flankers that people talked about so much at the last World Cup, and to see those young guys kind of dominate them and really win that game for us felt like a really big moment.
Just 6 p.m. kickoff, Japan. They've come in from the team run, and it's 5:48, and I think they go out for the anthems at 5:50, and they stand on the side. But you've got one phrase, one sentence to say to these lads, on behalf of the England fans.
And I've got to say it.
Yeah, Matt, what would you say? Do two speeches. Do
no.
One, imagine you're the captain. Imagine you're Owen Farrell and you're looking around, eyeballing your 14 lads. Or now you'll have all 22 because the importance of 23. You know, what did you go to
also
school? The under-11s? Cricket, or were you a captain? Were you a team leader?
No, I wasn't. I was always on the bench. Right. I was this sort of... also right at the bottom of the bench. So I'd often play for other teams. That's how bad I was. Because I was in like the 5th 15, and then another school would turn up and they wouldn't have enough players. Yeah. So I'd be like, go on Jack, play for Dulwich today. And then I'd play for Dulwich. So I was so bad that they didn't even want me in my own school's team. So when the big speeches are coming out, I'm like there, like I'm applauding at the back.
Exactly, so you've heard some
I'm encouraging them.
I
don't know what I'm saying.
So flip it around then, because that's an unfair question, and go...
You're very good at these speeches.
Tell the lads what it means to if it was being played out in front of them now. What does it mean to England?
Well, it is such an important moment, and you are inspiring a whole kind of new generation of rugby fans. Yeah. And the reason I love rugby so much is because of 2003. That is a memory that I have and will always have. I remember exactly where I was when I watched it. I was at my friend Amy Sherman's house. I was with 15 of my friends. We sat there, and I remember all the friends that I was with when I watched it. And we still go to the rugby together. We still talk. One of them's out here with me for the final, and it is such a defining moment. I actually saw Johnny Wilkinson at the semi-final. I went up and I showed him this. I did like a painting of him scoring that drop goal when I was at school. I must have been like 16 when I did this painting, and I did it for like my A-level art project, and I showed it to him, and because it was just like I was obsessed with him, and I was obsessed with that game, and I was obsessed with that World Cup, and then this group of guys has the chance to do that for a whole other generation, and it will be a load more people that become obsessed with rugby and will have it with them for the rest of their lives. And that goes like broad as well for the whole tournament out here, which is just insane. Like watching Japan play rugby in the way that they played rugby, and watching that game where you saw the stadium full of people that were all you could see in their faces. This was a whole new raft of people that were falling in love with the sport. It's so good for rugby.
Let's go back to the game and go, how do you want it to play out? What's plan A?
And plan A is that we kind of play the rugby that we've been playing for the rest of the tournament, that we are able to put on a bit of a show and like play through the phases and see all those performers that have been playing great continue with this form, and it not to turn into a kind of sloppy game with lots of handling errors and you hear about things like the line out, and if that falls apart, then that could be a place where they get us, and you just don't want any of those things to happen. And also, the more they're talked up, the more like that in that New Zealand game, when in the lead up to it, everything was about like they're going to attack us at the line out because that's where they got us in the last time round. And then Maro was just like a king. And so you hope that all those things that you're reading about and you're hearing about in the build up to this game, that the players are aware of that, and they're aware that these are areas of the match that are going to be scrutinised, and they're going to go, we're not going to let that happen, and we're not going to allow ourselves to kind of fall into those traps.
So get ahead early and be calm. But is there not part of you, which I think I have this weird sort of masochistic view as a sportsman, that the Aguero goal against QPR sort of made that I was behind the goal with my son, and going 2-1 down to QPR and Joey Barton getting sent off, that sort of enhanced the occasion. 0-3, the extra time.
Yes, there was a certain drop goal.
So is there an element of it?
There is, isn't there?
You don't want to win 30-0. No. You sort of need to have this moment, that moment.
Yeah.
If you could script it.
Yeah, if you could script it. And those are never things that you want. You take the dominant win if you're offered it now. Yeah. But the reality is, with finals, you want those stories to be the ones that unfold, and you don't want it to just be us kind of, brushing them aside. But right now, if you offered me us winning 30-0, I mean, I'd take it. I'd rip your hand off for it. Yeah.
And then pick out. So in terms of England players, which of the England players intrigue you, like quirky? Who do you think I need to know a little bit more about him? And which of the England players do you think, you know what? I hope at 3 o'clock in the morning I stumble into him and get to have a beer with him. So sort of contrast.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what happens when Owen Farrell wins a World Cup.
Yeah.
Because he just seems like the kind of guy that would probably get an early night and then be in the gym the following morning.
Which is what Wilkinson did.
Which is what Wilkinson did, yeah.
So he's that sort of character.
So he's that sort of character.
Back to Saracens.
Yeah, which you probably need when you're that kind of player. But
So
at the same time, I want to be the one that finds him afterwards and drags him into the Tokyo night.
Show me a bit of Wigan. Show me a bit of Wigan
exactly.
in Tokyo.
But
and the quirky ones who you don't know a lot about. I mean, someone like Joe Marler.
Joe Marler, yeah, he looks like, there's some.
Yeah.
I was about to say darkness, but do you know what I mean? Like he looks like he'd be fun. Yeah, he does. He does. He looks like Bane. Yeah, he could be a Tom Hardy character, but he looks like he's a really good, strong character to have in the dressing room. I like him when I see him in interviews. He looks like he's a laugh. And yeah, like as I mentioned, just Itoji, I think.
Yes. Incredible man.
He's playing a different sport. It's like he is insanely good, and. Yeah, he's just but like they all feel like model professionals.
Yeah.
Unlike 2003 where you had the odd
Tyndall.
Delalio.
Yeah.
Like
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Hashtag allegedly.
Hashtag
always.
Allegedly. There's none of those rogue characters.
Yeah.
They just all seem like elite, professional
So you
sportsmen,
want
not like Delalio. You're playing in a World Cup. This is not a stag do. Please behave.
So for
you're
90
definitely
minutes,
in that category
for 90
as well.
minutes do that, and then at the end of which they'll just come and be a little bit Corinthian.
Yeah.
Just come and be a little bit amateur with us. Just put some skin in our game.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit of showboating.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And any final thoughts on tomorrow? What's your routine?
This is why it's so weird. This is why it's a very dangerous position to be in right now, that I don't feel as nervous as I did in the lead up to that semi-final against New Zealand, and I don't like that. But maybe I think that will kick in tomorrow when the reality of it sets in, and on the way to the stadium and realizing the kind of the stakes of it and the fact that it's here and that I've come all the way to Japan to watch a World Cup final with England in it. I think suddenly it's all going to set in, and when those national anthems are being belted out, I think that's when I might go to pieces.
And will you be this sort of Mount Rushmore style character, just calmly taking it all in, or are you sort of Dad's Army panicking?
Yeah, I'm very panicking. Yeah, I fret a lot. I get very into it. The last game I was here, I was sat next to Martin Johnson, so that was a very different experience watching a game. It was literally me and him sat next to each other.
Peas in a pod.
Peas in a pod. So that all I was thinking throughout the entire game is, if there's a try, don't hug him, because I know how much he hates it when I embrace him, and he doesn't like physical contact. But there was a few moments where I think I accidentally slapped a knee, and then it's not. He scowls for the whole game, even when good stuff's happening. So I don't know whether I'm going to be next to Martin Johnson again, but it's a completely different experience watching rugby when you're next to him when you're next to him.
Let me back with your worst teacher, your French teacher. Oh, please let me smile and enjoy this.
I offered him a yakitori stick. You should have seen the look on his face. He was like, "What is this?" Clearly, yakitori hasn't got to Leicester yet.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. I'm from Batman. I don't know what a yakitori stick is. Look at me smiling along.
Chicken on a stick.
Oh, it's chicken on a stick.
It's chicken on a stick.
So, weird enough, your tweet when you landed, the England lads did the same. Henry Slade seemed to go around in the early days just taking pictures of loos. He was fascinated.
It really
from
is.
Exeter.
Yeah.
About what's going on. It takes you by surprise when it lives and shoots.
Yeah.
What else has taken you by
surprise?
A jet
of hot water up the bottom. There is nothing better than the sight of, especially at the rugby as well, because there's a lot of, rugby attracts a certain type of gentleman that supports rugby, and maybe a gentleman that's slightly more alpha, slightly more. Well, we've just been talking about Martin Johnson, the Martin Johnsons of this world, and to see them at half time leaving a lavatory cubicle, knowing that they have just had a jet of hot water shot up their bum. The conflicted emotions playing across their face. It's like an entire play just happening there. So, I mean, that was one of my speak
this moment.
We shall never speak of this moment ever again.
I know, never talk.
That's what I was doing. I was just loitering outside the toilets in the hope of being there when Martin Johnson walked out.
With a surprised look on his face for the first time in his life.
No, but there's more to Japan than the toilets.
Yes.
But that is from... It's such a shame that it is the highlight. And it's really annoying. It annoys me that I'm going to go home from Japan and that's what I'm going to talk about. That's why I need England to win the bloody World Cup.
Then we can move on.
Because if they don't win the
toilets.
World Cup, then all I'm going to do is go back and they're going to be, oh, it's such a shame that you lost in the final South Africa. I'm like, yeah, but the toilets are amazing.
to Tokyo.
So we really need England to deliver. Otherwise, that's going to be my highlight. And I've had like fine dining experiences. I've done all the touristy stuff, and still a jet of hot water up the bottom for me is just like unbeatable. Hopefully, it can be beatable when the mighty England. That's what I'm going to. That you asked me what I'd say in my speech. That's what I'd say. Go out there, make yourself legends, and make sure that I can return to England. And a jet of hot water up the bum is not my highlight.
Not my final
Go on,
result.
lads. And then I'll be like, who's this guy? That's the worst speech ever.
Fill up our walls with our English dead and remove the thought of a toilet squirt. Awesome. Look, thank you so much for that. I mean, what else we got? Nothing else? All good? Covered it all off?
I'm very, very excited. It was lovely to see you.
Yeah,
and now if we could maybe arrange for someone to come and cut me out of your wife's shirt.